Another fluffy, fluffy little bird. Hi y'all, welcome to another, actually this is a crevasse rather than a crevice of the man cave. This is what I'm using as my studio now, and as you know, I'm a comic book artist. You know, you can see all the comic book related things around, but I also, and primarily, am now a painter. I've been an artist my whole life, but painting is what I really enjoy now, and that's what my big passion is. So that's what I'm going to be talking to you about today on Third Act Stories. So for me, painting is just a very wonderful thing. I've been painting probably again for about 2-3 years. I say again because that was my major in college, but I got into graphic design and Star Wars illustration and all that kind of stuff, comic books and fun things like that that paid the bills. Actually, those were all side gigs. The thing that paid my bills was I was a corporate manager I was creative director for the third largest company in the world. And that allowed me to do all the fun projects that I do and be able to survive in retirement. And, you know, one of the things I like about these paintings, I'm doing a series of them, and I'm calling them the Dream Gardens. They're kind of a homage to a professor that has passed away, sadly, but he was a good friend of mine. He's the guy that got me interested in painting and fine art and that whole thing. And his name's David Hickman. And he used to do paintings called the Night Garden. His house was total artist house. Everything in his house, he looked like he either built or painted. A lot of his artwork was around nature and things like that. And I'm really getting into the whole idea of these dream gardens. Most of my images come from dreams that I have. I'll wake up and then I'll start researching and trying to figure out, like this instance of the bird. I saw this bird in a dream, saw the painting, and I said, now I got to figure out what kind of bird is that? I've never seen that bird before. So I went searching and found a bird called the golden pheasant, which is the bird that I saw in my dream. So I'm painting it in my dream garden. And most of these paintings really are a dream of the animal in the painting. If you notice, a lot of the color and lines come from the animal, so it's the central part of the story. I'm just all about color nowadays. I love mixing paint around and making color happen. That's my big fun thing. And, you know, oddly enough, most of this stuff is just comes out of thin air. It's not something I even plan out. I sketch out a little bit before I get going just to kind of give me some motion. But then I get in here and start painting these flowers or beanstalks or whatever they are, and I don't think they're a real beanstalk. I don't think they're a real flower. But they look good to me, and that's what I like. And the same thing with color. I don't plan out my color. I don't figure out, you know, where the blues and greens are and what's on the wheel, you know, the little color wheel. I don't have a color wheel and figure that out. I just put paint on the canvas, squish it around a little bit, and then if I like the way it looks, I'm happy with it. If I don't, then I take a big wet rag and wipe it off and start all over again. So one of the things I did when I first started painting is I ended up giving away every painting I did because none of my friends had original art in their house. And it was very important to me that they did have some original art in their house. So I started painting, you know, just a dozen different paintings for people, or dogs, cats, you know, cows from their motherland, you know, just anything that they wanted, just so I could get them some original art. And that's what they've got now. So I sell a lot of these things. I'm in a small town. I'm in a small town gallery, but I know what sells in the small town gallery, and it's basically tourist stuff. In Texas, it's blue bonnets, cows, no cowboys. I don't do cowboys. Not yet, anyway. Don't do Indians. Don't do any of that, because that stuff sells. But, you know. But a lot of my paintings that I really enjoy, I don't do anything that would sell in this little town. My goal is to get out into a bigger city and have a show, so I'm trying to collect about 10, 15 pieces to put together for a bigger show in a bigger town, and those will be my my Dream Garden series. You know, the thing is about art is it's what you like. You know, you do whatever you think is entertaining to you, and if it makes you happy, then it's probably going to make somebody else happy. You know, one of the things I also do is I've gotten together with a lot of artists in town. That's important to me because I grew up being an artist, caricature artist was what my first job was. And we all got together at like 2 o'clock in the morning and sat at an old cafe diner and, you know, had coffee and all you could eat shrimp, stuff like that. And it was so fun to sit and talk with other artists about art. If you're an artist, you know what I'm talking about. So now in my 60s, in my third act, I've gotten together with a lot of other artists, and we get together once a month and have a artist confab, which is very energetic for me, very energizing for me, and very spiritually motivating for me. You know, whatever your talent is, whatever your skill is, it's important to give to other people if you can, because I'm not happy with my art just sitting in my house. But the funnest thing for me is to have a piece of art that sells, gets in someone's house. I did a cow. In Houston, we had this big thing called a painted cow show. They had these big fiberglass cows, and I would paint them up, and they made little figures of them. I've got it around here somewhere. And the coolest thing was they put them all in our city park. And one Sunday, I was driving by there, and kids were lining up for their parents to sit them on the cow and take their picture. And the kids were sitting on my cow, which I thought was so cool because it was something where the kids liked it enough that they wanted to be involved with it. It was a nice cow, you know, it wasn't scary or anything. So the kids loved getting their photos on it. And to me, that's when art became art to me, is when someone would sit on my art. Man, I was happy with that. Well, so there it is, folks. Painting finished. I worked on it a little bit last night, probably a few hours, a little bit this morning. Now it's dry, it's on the wall. And I'll talk to you all more about the techniques and specifics of painting later in the series here. But I thought I'd just let you see what I was working on today. And if y'all have any questions about painting or illustration or any of the other crazy stuff I talk about, be sure and make a comment in the comment section, and I'll return your information toot sweet. So thank you for coming by Third Act Stories. I look forward to seeing you next time.